welcome. Thank you so much. Good morning. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Alejandra Senkiang. I am the director of the Mayor's Office for Immigrant Advancement, and I am so excited to welcome you all here today. As you all know and have probably experienced, the last couple of years have been quite challenging in our space. And there are days that I think it can become overwhelming and defeating. And there are three things that keep me going when I'm at my wit's end about what's going to come down the pike next. One of those is that, and it's become increasingly clear, particularly with the most recent court decision yesterday coming out of Washington, that we have the law on our side, right? We have the law on our side. And we are upholding the values of what makes America great, right? And we're going to continue to do that. So that's one thing. The second thing is that I have the great honor of working for a mayor and an administration that has not once faltered on his support for the immigrant communities, regardless of where you're from, regardless of what language you speak, and regardless of your status. And so being able to work for Mayor Walsh under the administration, under Health and Human Services, under Chief Marty Martinez, that also gives me hope, because I know that as we're fighting each of these battles, they're right there with us. Yeah. And the third thing that gives me hope is everyone here. Everyone here, everyone here. The organizations that we are honoring today, that we're able to give a grant due to our annual We Are Boston, we know it's not millions of dollars. We wish it was millions of dollars, right? But we know that the work that you do on the ground, both with immigrants and recent evacuees from places like Puerto Rico, is the work that we as a city, we're not able to do, because people will come to you. They'll come to you first, they'll trust you, and they're coming here to, whether they've been here for generations or they're newly arrived. We know whether it's legal services or family preparedness or setting up new lives here in Boston, these are the organizations that our communities go to and trust. And so it is our great honor to be able to at least offer something to help you do that work that you do on a daily basis. So without further ado, I would like to invite Chief Marty Martinez, who is the Chief of Health and Human Services, who started this year. It has been an incredible experience to work under the leadership of Marty. He spent many years in mass mentoring and has brought to the city that strategic vision, that warmth, humility, and I really, it's been a great partnership, and I'm excited to see all the work that we can continue to do. So, Marty Martinez.
So thank you, Alejandra, and just thank you not only for your leadership in the work, but the work of your entire team. The Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement continues to make sure that we do this important work, not only as advocates, but that we're supporting the community. So they make it all happen, and I'm proud to support them. So let's hear it for the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement. We're excited to be able to support grantees and these nonprofits doing some important work in the community. And it's not only all the challenges that Alejandra's talked about on a national level, some of the things we've seen from our federal government and in other places, but it's also our attempt to make sure that organizations that know this work best, that have the resources to do what they need to do. And although these are small grants, it is our intention to ensure that we can not only partner with all of you, but that we can support you, not just in fighting back against the things that we need to fight back against, because we know that's true, but also to work to help our communities thrive. Help us help the entire communities get beyond just survival or fighting back the latest challenge, but helping us have economic sustainability, helping us get through the challenges we face and achieve educational attainment that we need for our young people and our families. And so I appreciate all that you continue to do and know that this is just one piece of a much larger partnership. The investment that's being made through the organizations includes a variety of clinics, legal clinics. It includes training programs to battle back against Islamophobia, to battle back against some prejudice and discrimination, train organizations and providers. Think about helping those who have had to resettle here because of the hurricane, the Puerto Rican folks who've come here to be able to survive and get the resources they need when they've been let down by our federal government in many ways. These funds are to help these organizations provide the support they're doing, but most importantly is to help them think about and raise awareness for the work they're doing. None of this would be possible without the Mayor's Office of Immigrant Advancement. None of this would be possible, obviously, without the work of the Health and Human Services Cabinet that we're doing together to raise visibility. But in addition, none of this would be possible without the leadership of our great mayor. One of the things that I appreciate the most about this work is, I've been in this office maybe 4 months. Sometimes it feels longer, I think Alejandra would say. But it's been about 4 months. But what I've learned is what I saw outside of City Hall, what I cared about as a community resident and as an activist and someone that cares deeply on the issues that impact young people in all of our communities, is that the notion of what you see on TV about the support for immigrants or what you read in the paper about what's happening in City Hall is true. It's actually the reality of what we're talking about in City Hall. It's the reality of trying to make sure that we give visibility and that we raise awareness and that we're doing the work that needs to be done without fear and without the challenge of this, what does this mean politically? But it's really about what's important and what we need to make happen. I'm proud that the reality in City Hall is what I thought it was when I was outside of City Hall, and that's because of the leadership of our fearless mayor. So help me bring up the mayor of Boston, Marty Walsh.
Thank you, Marty, and I want to thank Marty and the great work he's done in the last 4 years, or 4 months, I mean. Thank you very much. I want to thank Alejandra Sanquien and her office. They do incredible work. When I became the mayor in 2014, Alejandra, I asked her to come on board and to take over and run our office of immigrant, it wasn't immigrant advancement at the time. And she came back with an idea of changing the whole culture and mindset of what we do. Instead of welcoming immigrants to our shores, we're advancing immigrants. And her office has done an incredible job. And the last 2 years have been challenging. Last year and 4 months have been challenging because of the policies coming out of Washington, D.C. But her office is there, and I think they're doing an incredible job making sure people that weren't born here feel comfortable being here. And many of you in this room are longtime residents of Dorchester and of different neighborhoods, and I've seen you here before. I remember when this center was built, VA was built, I was a state rep here, and I was honored to support it. But Alejandra has taken what we've done back then and what we're doing now and putting it on a whole new level. So I want to thank Alejandra and her office for the incredible work that they do. There's a bunch of people up here on the stage that I want to thank, but I can't get into everyone. Kevin Rash from Mass Mutual, We Are Boston Gala co-chair. Carolyn Shu from AARW, a grantee. To all the grantees, I want to say congratulations for the incredible work that you do in the community. I wish, as Alejandra said, I wish this was bigger money because certainly the work you do is on very tight budgets, but the response, if you take data and look at what the work you do and the results you get, it's incredible. So thank you for all the great work you've done today and what you've done in the past. The organizations that we're honoring today really have possessed the spirit of hope that defines the city of Boston. And as I look around the room, I know there are people here, I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna, from Cape Verde. I know there are people here from Vietnam. I know there are people here from Central America. I know there are people here from Haiti. I know there are people here from, I don't know if there's a couple Irish people here, from Ireland. You know, we have some African countries. We have all over the world represented in this room today, and this is who we are as America. So I want to thank all of the organizations from what you've done. You know, Boston as a city is a beacon for people brave enough to leave everything back home and come here. People determined to build a better life and people determined to help back home. I want to thank you for that. What I didn't realize, and people realize coming to the city, the important impacts that you've made in our own country, and I want to thank you for doing that as well. That story that we talk about, the immigrant story, it continues to unfold over the last 4 centuries. It continues to move forward. Immigrants like my parents made this city what it is today. Immigrants like my parents built the churches and built the schools and built the immigration centers and built the roads and the bridges and the tunnels that we have here, not just in Boston, but throughout the United States of America. That's the story of America. That's the story of a lot of different countries. You go to different countries, it's generally the immigrants that did that work, whether it's England or America or France or Germany. That's what you'll see. It's a continuation. But here in America, we're proud of that. People from other shores, many people like you, are going to make this the greatest city it's ever been. And I also want to include Puerto Rico in that. I'm proud of the work of what happened here in Boston when the hurricane hit Puerto Rico. I was proud of the fact that Democrats and Republicans sat down. Vanessa had a little bit to do with that, pushing us a little bit behind the scenes. But we came up with a fund, and then we had organizations supporting Puerto Rico. And that's what we should do. We should make sure that we support each other. I had the chance to go to Caguas in Puerto Rico. Alex Cora, the new manager of the Boston Red Sox, his hometown, we went there. We brought water and food and supplies and baseball gloves. And the people were just so happy. Power was out, and it's still out there in Caguas. The sewage system wasn't working properly. The water system wasn't working properly. The stores were open only for a little bit. But people were smiling. And it was amazing, the resilience of people. And so it's an honor that we were able to help. The promise of America. In Boston, we've never forgotten that, and we never will. When Marty Martinez talked about how we feel about immigrants in the office, I've felt that way ever since I've been a little boy, because I'm a son of immigrants. I'm a son of literally 2 immigrants from Ireland. And you know, our culture and tradition was upheld in our home as best as it could be. And I was always told that when my parents came to this country, and my family and other folks that came, there was a commonality of all of them. Most hands were dirty. Most people had callus in their hands, and they did 2 and 3 and 4 jobs. We can never forget that, and we should never forget that, because the immigrants that are here today are the same. They have the same calluses my father had, and they're working the same 2 and 3 and 4 jobs to make sure that their kids, sons and daughters, have opportunities to go to school, have opportunities to have clothes on their back, have opportunities to buy a home, buy a car, and make their family, and also send money back home, which I think was amazing, because my mother still does, even though I don't need it. But I am. So it is important for us. We're pushing for comprehensive immigration reform. I've been pushing since I've been the mayor. I've been pushing before that, because it's important that we have immigration reform. We don't need a wall. What we need is our legislative delegations across the country to sit down and do their job, is what we need them to do. That's honestly what we need them to do. We're fighting to keep families together. I am honestly tired of going into schools in Boston and seeing a little kid whose mother and father are from another country, and they might be from another country, they might be here, and they're afraid that their parents are going to be taken away from them. That is not who we are as a country. That is not who we are as a culture, and that should never be any place that we aspire to. We're standing with the DACA recipients and the TPS holders, because they have built lives here. And if you look at the DACA recipients, 95% of the DACA recipients are working or in school or a part of our society. They're paying their taxes. They're part of our community. They're part of our culture now, and it's important for us that we continue to fight for those DACA recipients. Our Office of Immigrant Advancement has been doing great work. I'm just going to read some of the things that we're talking about. We're partnering with organizations like the people behind me and many people in this room to host legal clinics to help TPS holders, so people understand their rights and what their rights are. We're providing free immigration clinics at City Hall and information corners at libraries, BCYF centers, and the YMCA. And in this neighborhood, we have Fields Corner Library literally down the street. And we have the Grover Cleveland, I don't think it's called Grover Cleveland anymore, the Grover Cleveland on Charles Street, up the street that way, and a BCYF center. We have a YMCA not too far up on Washington Street up in Common Square, so we're working with those organizations to let people know that what their rights are. We've worked on building an immigrant defense fund, legal defense fund, working with the other consul generals like Mexico that are paying legal funds for people from Mexico, and also willing to help beyond Mexican borders. And we're working with the Irish consulate and other consulates to make sure that they step up as well, that they continue to put forward. So we're working, moving forward. Alejandra's office, this is all her office. They're facilitating workshops and know your rights and what the rights are in case somebody grabs you and talks to you, and it's important. We also are hosting annual citizenship days with hundreds of immigrants receiving free assistance to help apply for citizenship. My mother came to this country in 1959. She became a citizen in 1995. The reason why she didn't become a citizen until 1995, because she was intimidated and afraid to take the test. She didn't think she could take the test and pass the test. And she realized that after we worked with her, she was able to do that. And she did it on her own. And it was one of her proudest days. And ironically, she took a picture in front of the State House after she became a citizen, not knowing that 2 years later her son would be elected state representative in that same building. This work is effective when we work hand in hand. And as elected officials, we can't be half in. We have to be completely in. And that's why I challenge my colleagues in government around the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and around the country, not to put your foot in the water, but to jump in the water and be supportive as we work together, because there's strength in numbers when we all stand together. This mini-grant program is a powerful tool that has allowed us to strengthen these partnerships. I want to thank the co-chairs and everyone who worked on the We Are Boston Gala for making these grants possible. And if it wasn't for the co-chairs and again Alejandro's office, we wouldn't be able to do this. So I want to thank them for their great work. We had an incredibly strong pool of applicants this year, and I want to sincerely thank everyone who applied. In 2018, the mini-grant awardees are doing a range of important work, whether they're helping make sure evacuees establish their lives here in Boston or help that their families stay together. All of you are making our city stronger. All of you are helping us make good on that American promise and that American dream. You're helping us to remain a city for all and an opportunity for everyone that lives in this city. On behalf of the city of Boston, I want to thank all of the recipients. I want to congratulate you. We are proud to support the work you are doing, and we want to thank you, particularly in these very difficult times, because our work was important in 2013. I know our work has gotten a little more important in 2014, and we're going to continue to move forward. So thank you very much for all that you do.
Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. Now I want to invite one of the grantees up, Vanessa Calderon Rosado, who is the ED of IVA, Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción, and has received the grant and the work that they're doing with the refugees from Puerto Rico. I'm so sorry. Yes, I will. It doesn't move. Oh, okay. I just wasn't strong enough. Sorry. Yeah, so let me just repeat what I said. I'm going to invite one of the grantees, Vanessa Calderon Rosado, who is the director of IVA, Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción, and the work that they are doing with the evacuees from Puerto Rico as they come to Boston and reestablish their lives. I did just want to quickly name all of the grantees who are here with us today. We have the African Community Economic Development, Acedone is here, we have Agencia Alpha is here, Asian American Resource Workshop, and you will hear from Carolyn, who is here, the Boston Higher Ed Resource Center, HERC is here, Brazilian Women's Group, East Boston Economical Community Council, EBEC, Immigrant Family Services Institute, IFSI, Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción. You'll hear from Vanessa, Irish International Immigrant Center, and Rosendale is for Everyone, RISE. So we're only going to have 2 grantees speak, but definitely if you're able to, want to learn more about any of these amazing organizations afterwards, definitely feel free to stick around. And if anyone, the reporters want to interview them, I'm sure they'd be more than happy to do that. So, Vanessa?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for this opportunity, and I want to thank Lisette Lay and her staff from BNA for opening the doors to this wonderful space to all of us this morning for this great event. I want to thank the opportunity of receiving this grant, both to Mayor Walsh, Chief Martinez, and Director Sengian, because even though it's little money, and yes, we could use more, it takes us a long way. So IVA, or Inquilinos Boricuas en Acción, was founded in 1968, 50 years ago. And it was founded by a group of Puerto Rican activists that stopped the displacement of the neighborhood and remained there. They created IVA to develop housing, education, arts and economic development opportunities, not only for the Puerto Rican community that lived in the South End, but also for the larger community in Boston and in the neighborhood. So today, we continue to do that. We continue to support, to do that work, to support housing, affordable housing, education programs, arts and economic development. But we also stand ready to respond to the needs of the most vulnerable families in the city, as well as the needs of those newly arrived families to our city of Boston. So in doing so, we have, after Hurricane Maria, and because of our strong Puerto Rican roots and identity and history, we found ourselves in the midst of really supporting, not only working with the mayor, the governor, and so many other civic leaders in creating the Mass United for Puerto Rico Fund, but also in supporting the families that were coming here because they had lost everything back in the island. And the same with other evacuees from the Virgin Islands. So we truly stretched our capacity, and we have two members of our team here today, especially Janice Nevares, who has really helped in coordinating the information, the referral, the cases with so many other local, city, state, and other community organizations, nonprofits, to support these families as they settle. So this grant that we're receiving from the Mayor's Office of Immigrant and Advancement will help with that case coordination, with moving expenses for those families that are settling. Some of them are settling in the community of Villa Victoria in the South End, how we open our doors to them with moving expenses, with other settlement expenses that they will need, and with the coordination of their care to ensure that we welcome them to our city and that they feel welcomed both to their home, to their new home, and both to their new city, Boston, which, as the mayor said, has a strong history of welcoming immigrants to our shores. So we're very grateful for this opportunity, for this grant. Thank you so much, and keep it up with fundraising so not only EVA, but so many other immigrant groups can benefit. So thank you.
So I'm going to invite our final speaker up here, Carolyn Chu, who's the director of the Asian American Resource Workshop. And I did also want to take this opportunity. I know that Vanessa already thanked Viet Aid and Lisette Lay, but I want to thank you again for opening your space. This has been just the perfect setting for us. And I've so known Lisette for many, many years. Very excited to see her in this new role. I also want to thank our members of the Bay Cove Clark Senior Services for coming and for staying with us and allowing us to use this space for the programming. It's really, really honored to have you here. So Carolyn will be our last speaker. Thank you very much.
Thank you all for being here today in Fields Corner, the neighborhood where our organization is based. And thank you for showing up for immigrant and refugee communities. Thank you to the Office of Immigrant Advancement, the Department of Health and Human Services, the We Are Boston Gala Committee, and everyone from the city who made today possible, and for your support of our communities and our work. These grants will allow our groups to expand our work to defend immigrants, refugees, and evacuees, and to support and host workshops to prepare their families. Our groups represent some of the diversity of immigrant communities in Boston, and our work speaks to the immediate threats facing our communities. I'm the director of the Asian American Resource Workshop, and at ARW, we are committed to showing up for Vietnamese and other Southeast Asian immigrants and refugees until there is not one more deportation. We, similar to what Vanessa said, we mostly do community organizing and leadership development in Asian American communities, and in the past year have really stretched ourselves to fight for families right now as the deportation crisis increases, and I'm sure as everyone have been stretching ourselves and are grateful that this grant will allow us to do that and to provide some capacity. So we know that this is part of a broader system attacking our immigrant communities and communities of color, from gentrification to surveillance to deportation. We at AARW are committed to defending everyone in our communities under attack, regardless of gender, sexuality, age, and past criminal record. We believe that families deserve to stay together, and working class people and people of color deserve to remain and thrive in their communities. We are committed to fighting against cycles of displacement due to not only increased deportations, but also rising rents in the neighborhood. We want to support every family we can to be prepared and to receive linguistically and culturally relevant services and care. This grant will allow all of our groups to support more families and fight for more of our people. On Inauguration Day in 2017, a coalition of local organizing groups planned an action where we chanted, "Rise, resist, protect." This grant will allow our groups to expand our work to rise, resist, and protect our immigrant communities in this political moment. Thank you so much for this grant.
That concludes our program for today. Thank you so much for being with us.